Formed in 1976, the mission of Landmarks is to preserve our community's historic treasures while increasing appreciation for its irreplaceable heritage. Most agree that Carroll Hart was the founding force behind the Landmark Society.
Alice Carroll Hart grew up in Madison, Georgia, and acquired a deep love of history at an early age. Her parents divorced when she was young, so she lived in Madison with her mother, aunt, and an extended family of cousins.
Well, I understand that she had a scholarship to Brenau, where she got her bachelor's in history, and then went to the University of Georgia, where she earned a master's in history as well. Sometime shortly after, she went to Columbia University Library School.
Miss Hart, as she was known to generations of students, employees, and colleagues, began her professional career as an elementary school teacher in Madison, and later taught journalism at the local high school. In the mid-1940s, Carroll left teaching and became a librarian at the University of Georgia. With her 13 years of experience at the University Library and her growing network of history and archives colleagues, Hart was hired as the assistant to the director of the Georgia Department of Archives and History in Atlanta in 1957.
I would say that she's the mother of the archives profession in Georgia. She really kind of birthed that baby and helped nurture it and bring it along and provide the sustenance that has left a legacy. Archivists are not always the most politically astute because it's a stewardship role, and you're supposed to be trustees of that legacy.
When I moved here to Madison and met Carroll, that just changed forever. She introduced me not only to history, the connection was really the people. She was truly a friend. If Carroll Hart was your friend, you had a friend forever.
Carroll Hart was also instrumental in the professionalization of archives management in Georgia and the Southeast. In 1967, she established the Georgia Archives Institute for professional development, not only for her staff, but also for archivists from all across the state. The annual institute continues today, and the SGA provides the Carroll Hart Scholarship to fund attendance.
She was so important for the Society of Georgia Archivists, the original tri-state group that became SARC, the South Atlantic Archives and Records Conference, and then, of course, the Georgia Archives Institute to train folks. So Carroll was very, very important in helping to educate an entire generation of archivists in this region.
Besides assuring that Georgia's documentary heritage was secure and available, and I think the projects that she carried out with Vanishing Georgia is the most visible. You preserve and make available is what we say we do, but you preserve it in evolving formats.
The good part about Vanishing Georgia was that I was able to promote it county after county on radio, TV, ads, and through other means that you can become a part of Georgia history. A lot of these were historic photographs that you would never see otherwise unless somebody preserved them. And that was the idea of Vanishing Georgia. And so we were to go around all 152 counties of Georgia and re-photograph historic photos that patrons would bring in.
I think that she is known statewide, but on a completely, entirely different level than here in town. It's much more personal here. Statewide, she did amazing work and is known for those projects. Of course, as time goes by, folks lose that memory.
She had a favorite saying. She said she thought she was born to save history. I think all these projects that they're talking about were just amazing, and she had an incredible insight into things that nobody else had tried.
During her era, she was very well recognized as having been a motivating force for many of the local and regional organizations that were used to permit professional archivists to learn. I think we who came toward the end of her term as director received that legacy. We began to realize that we had been very fortunate, and that legacy is still there. Her name stands out among the profession of archivist.
Even the new building here that we have, we're preserving collections that she was largely responsible for building. Under her supervision, the archives increased immensely in holdings. She was just the right person at the right time. She managed to work so well with so many people to get so much accomplished.
It has been said that she was exactly the right person to be where she was when she was director of the archives, because she sort of had her finger on the pulse of history and had innovative ways of beginning to preserve that using media that weren't necessarily the ones that had been used in the past.
The former archivist for the state of Georgia is an avid gardener, preservationist, and a fourth-generation Madisonian. Carroll, along with other members of Landmarks, believes that showcasing the unique qualities of the gardens of Morgan County is one good way to fulfill our mission.
I do think that gardens mean so much in the life of a person. Having beauty around you and seeing springs come and go. And I think some people just have a yearning to get their hands in the soil and become a part of it all. It's a reflection of a town, the gardens. It's a reflection of the people that have lived here.
Well, besides my own personal respect for her and what she did, but what I saw that this legacy of our state's documentary heritage is so much richer and fuller and appreciated as a result of her investment, helping create a generation or more of true believers. You do it for employment, but at the same time, you got to have a real passion for seeing that the records are secure and available.
She was an incredible mentor to everybody, and everybody's love of history comes from Carroll Hart.
She would be very humbled by this honor. She certainly is deserving. She would want to give credit to everybody who surrounds her for everything they had given her. I can just hear her saying, and I want to thank, she'd start naming all the people that she would want to thank. That'd be Carroll.